What can you see? I've asked people this question a few times, and it's interesting, the answers and the responses that I get. So I want you to look at it today and ask me and tell me, what do you see? I've had people tell me, I see a big dot. Others tell me, I see a triangle. Others tell me, well, I can see arrows pointing to a dot. And you know what? You're right. But what else can you see? Very few people, when they look at this, tell me that they can see a white piece of paper. And you know, from what you can see, the dot is there, the triangle is there, the arrows are there. But the biggest thing you can see, if you can agree with me, is the white piece of paper. And today, as I share with you, I want to talk to you about focusing on the big picture. Because many times we go through life and there's so much detail out there. There's so many things happening around and about us that sometimes it's so possible to get so busy and so caught up on the nitty-gritties of life, the minute details of life, and we forget about the big picture. What is life about? What is it that we are trying to achieve? Where is it that we are going? Because we get caught up on those little things of here and now, and we miss out on the big picture of where we are going. This is what Solomon says, Proverbs 29 and verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Where there is no vision, the vision is the big picture. The vision is the reason for what we are here. And if we lose that vision, when we lose the big picture, we can still be so busy with those little other things that keep us so preoccupied. But when we miss the big picture of where we are going on and why we are here, we lose it in life. But this is the question, why is it so frustratingly easy to lose out on the big picture? Why is it that many times we miss out on the big picture of why we are here? See, our vision is what we want. Who is it that God has created us to be? What is it that we want to grow into? Where is it that we are going? And that is true as a person. Where are you going personally? The things you do today contribute to it, but it's not it all. What is it that you want to achieve as a family? Where is it that you're going professionally? Where is it that your career is taking you to? What are you doing that you want to become as a minister, as a believer? What is the big picture about your life? You see, for many of us, it's a big question mark. You're not even sure where you're going. You don't know where you want to be. You don't know what it is that you want to become. You don't even know in full detail why is it that you are here. And because of that, we get caught up in all these little other things and we keep our focus away from what we need to do and stay on the small things. This is what's important. Once we know the big picture of why we are here and what our life is all about, then it's very easy to know how the little things of life each fit in to the big picture. It's very easy to place the nitty-gritties of life into the right perspective. It's very easy to place our relationships into the right perspective. It's very easy to pick our gifts and our talents and the other thing, the skills that we have, and put them into the right perspective. And the other thing that focusing on the big picture helps us with is that it helps us to steer our lives in the right direction. It helps us to focus our lives where we need to go, towards the destination, rather than just meandering in the hope that we will end up somewhere, somehow. You see, we cannot just go through life and hoping that one day we will wake up and we're where we need to go. We must have a focus on the big picture that we are steering our lives and steering our efforts towards to. It must be a deliberate, intentional action that we take to get us where we need to go. And that is the place where God wants us to be. That big picture where God wants us to be must become our reference point. It must be the point we wake up very aware that this is where we are going and everything else must fall in its place towards where we need it to be. When that becomes true, our lives begin to have purpose. Our lives begin to have meaning. But you see, the big picture, although we miss it many times, let me say a few things about it. Number one, the big picture about your life, often than not, is easier than what we struggle to think. You see, God would not call us to struggle to find out our reason for existence. It is very easy, it is very plain. But because the enemy wants to deceive us and to pervert how we face life and how we do life, he makes us think it is so complicated. It is some mystery that is out there that nobody can find out. But the big picture about your life, if you will get with God, it is easy and more often readily available than what you think. The other thing about the big picture, that it is always obvious before our eyes. It's always very obvious before our eyes. We only need to open our eyes to see. When we do not open our eyes to see, we miss out on the big picture, and we spend most of our time involved in petty things, little things, insignificant and inconsequential, mundane things of life. But the obvious big picture passes us by. The third thing I'd like to tell you about the big picture is that it is always the reason for and the container of the finer details of life, the chores and the nitty-gritties that we do every day. The reason you are supposed to be concerned with those nitty-gritty things of life is because they are the reason. The big picture is the reason for them. If there was no purpose for your life, you would not go to school. If there was no purpose for your life, you would not wake up and go to work. If there was no purpose for your life, you would not do the dishes. If there was no purpose for your life, you would not iron and keep your clothes clean. If there was no purpose for your life, you would not keep the garden. If there was no purpose for your life, you would not need a car. You would not need a house. So the purpose for your life is not to get a house or to get a car. The purpose for your life is not to go to school. All these are little things that fit into the big purpose for your life. But what is the purpose for your life? You must find out the purpose for your life. We must go beyond the complexities of the minor things and trying to concentrate on them at the expense of missing out on the big picture. There are far too many people and far too many times in our life we are concerned about the little things and scratching everything to try and find the reason for our existence. What is the big picture? And all the while, it is sitting right before our eyes. I had a story of a security officer that worked in a big sawmill, timber mill. And his responsibility was to make sure nobody stole from the company. He was at the gate. He would make sure he checks everybody at the time people were knocking off work. He would make sure nobody leaves the factory with factory property and nobody steals from the factory. And every day there would be people passing through, especially those it was the days when they used wheelbarrows to go and tip out the sawdust outside the factory. And somebody gave him a tip off. Somebody said, there is a man here who is stealing from the company. And he told himself, I must catch him. I must catch him in the act and I must arrest him. And so this man came. And he was told, this is the guy that steals from the company. And he told himself, today I must catch him. And so when this man came with his wheelbarrow and his sawdust, like he was going to tip it out like everybody else was doing, the security officer determined to check him out. And so frisked every part of him, checked his pockets, checked his shoes, and he could not find anything that this man was stealing. He dug through the sawdust to find, could this man be hiding something in this sawdust? He could not find anything. Finally, in frustration, he asked the man, I'm told you're stealing from the company. But he told the man, if you tell me what it is that you're stealing, because I've looked and I cannot find it, number one, I will not arrest you, and number two, I will let you have it anyway. The man looked at him in the face and told him, you really want to know? Are you really sure you'll keep your word? He said yes. And he told him, I steal wheelbarrows. It was sitting right in front of him. He could see the man had a wheelbarrow, but he could not see the big picture. He was looking for the little minute details. And that is how sometimes we are. It's sitting right before us, but we are taking too much of our time looking for the non-existent illusions of life, while the thing that matters in life is drifting past us? Could the thing that matter for your life be drifting past you and you're concerned with illusions of life? Could the things that make for your success and for your purpose of being here be sitting right before you, drifting past you every day of your life? And you're fighting over little things that do not even impact on your reason for existence? Maybe we need to ask ourselves, maybe we need to think about, are we making compromises and concessions on insignificant things while the big picture that is so obvious, we are ignoring, we are missing it? And later on, you know what we do? We blame ourselves. We blame ourselves for making such obvious mistakes. We blame ourselves for doing things that cost our destiny because we did not focus on the big picture, because we did not look at what is important in our lives. And because we did not do that, we end up destroying our destinies. I want you to think about it today. What is the big picture about your life? Why are you here? Are you focusing on that? The things that you spend your day on, do they matter? Do they contribute to the fullness of your being here? The little things that you do every day, you need to ask yourself, what is the significance of them? Can you put them in perspective for your big picture? Because sometimes we even get busy doing things, but we never find out, why are we doing it? You ask people the reason why they wake up in the morning to go to work. Why? Is this just so that you can have something to eat? Why do you work hard? If you're a college student, why do you go to college? How does that fit in? Had a story of a man that met 3 stone cutters. And they were busy cutting stone and dressing stone. And it intrigued him. And so he went to ask the first guy. And he asked the first stone cutter, what are you doing? I know you work in this quarry, but why are you busy doing this thing? Because it interests me to know. And the man told him, I'm cutting a stone. Well, that was a very obvious answer, but it did not satisfy him. He went to the second guy and he asked the second guy, what is it that you are doing? And the man said, I'm cutting this block of stone to make sure that it is square and it is the right dimension, it is uniform, and it fits exactly where it is wanted. Now, that looked like a guy that had a bit more detail. But he went to the third guy and he asked the third guy, what is it that you're doing? And the third guy gave this answer. He said, I'm building a cathedral. What was the difference? The 3 men were each dressing a stone, but one of them had the big picture. He was not just dressing a stone, he was building a cathedral. And he was more excited. Every day he woke up, he knew what he is doing fits into the bigger picture. He's building a cathedral. The other guy was just chipping stone. He was just dressing stone. He couldn't care whether the cathedral is built or not. He was just chipping stone. And that is how sometimes we live our lives. We do what we do today. We do what we do this year. We do what we do for this season of our life. But we don't know how it fits in to the big picture. Are you seeing the big picture? Are you seeing everything that you do as a little contribution to the whole of the big part of your life? Can you see the significance of what you do every day into the big picture of your life? Is it crystal clear to you how you naturally gravitate towards the thing that you're passionate about because you see how they fit in? Because if we don't, it's just another thing. It's just going through the routine. It's just the mundane things of life. And before we realize it, we've lost the vigor of life. We've lost the zeal of life because we don't see the big picture. There is something about your life. Don't lose passion of it. There is something about your life that you need to be sure. And that's why Habakkuk tells us in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3 that we need to write that vision down so that we run with it. So that although it tarries and it's for an appointed time, we must make sure we run with that vision. What is the vision of your life? What is the purpose of your being here? Keep focus on the big picture and pursue it.